welcome to this new exciting session on Sattology with Padmashree K K Mohammed. And he is joining us from India. And we are going to discuss two temples, uh, transplantation or relocation from the ASI point of view. It's a very scientific process. And why we are showing you is that India is serious about protecting their historical legacy, and that is shown in the works of Sri K K Mohammed. And he has been pioneer and very famous all over the world for his work on restoration. So let us watch this presentation. You had liked his earlier presentations, and so this presentation also you will appreciate. For those who are not able to join the link, they can always watch this video. Will come live next week on our YouTube channel. So without delay, let's move over to Sri K K Mohammed. Welcome, K K Mohammed.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And my dear friends, good morning to all of you. I think it is good morning there.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, good morning to all of you. And thank you very much for listening to my earlier, this one was also discussions also. And today we are going to have a new topic. New topic in the sense this is about translocation or transplantation of a monument. In the whole world, there are very few transplantations. And in India, there were only 4 transplantations so far. And the first transplantation, this was in 1960. That was at the place known as Nagarjunakonda, that is in Andhra Pradesh. And why this was required, this transplantation was required. Transplantation means locating, bodily transplanting, brick by brick, a monument from one place, sometimes to a distance of 20 kilometers, sometimes to a distance of 5 kilometers, sometimes it would be 1 kilometer also. So sometimes it would be few 200, 300 meters away. So this was the first transplantation had taken place at Nagarjunakonda, that is in Andhra Pradesh. And the second most important transplantation that had also taken place is known as Sri Shailam project, again in Andhra Pradesh. And why was it necessary? That is the most important question. Because in both these places, the government was constructing a dam. So as we all know, when we construct a dam, the whole area, the whole adjacent area is going to be submerged. Although sometimes the catchment area also would be submerged. It would be roughly around 40-50 kilometers sometimes. That would, the whole thing would be submerged. So there we have 2 important things. One is you have to rehabilitate the people who are living there from one place to another safe place. And along with that, the government has got one more duty: whatever cultural properties, national monument or state monuments are there, that also should be transplanted from one place to another place. So one was at Nagarjunakonda and the second one was at Sri Shailam project. And then there were 2 more transplantations. That was, one was at Kurdi, that is in Goa. There is a dam known as Sangam Dam, or sometimes is also known as Salolim Dam. So the government wanted to have that one. For that, they had to transplant the temple which was there. That was a small Shiva temple. And I had the privilege of translocating that one from that place to a distance of 20 kilometers. Because that was the only available area where I could transplant it. And the second is at Omkareshwar. Omkareshwar, we know that we have that 12 Jyotirlingas, and this is one place where we have a Jyotirlinga. Saurashtre Somanatham and Chashri Shaile Mallikarjunam Ujjaine Mahakalam Omkara Mamaleshwaram. It is that Omkareshwar, but it is not that famous temple of Omkareshwar because that is mostly Shiva temple. Just by the, few meters away from there was a Vishnu temple, Mahavishnu temple. And again, Vishnu, we all know that whenever there is a degeneration in the society, Vishnu, he takes incarnation. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirubhavati bharata abhyuttanamada. We all know it about it. So, whenever, that degeneration, but there is another that is, we know the Shavadara Malsya Kurma Varahasya, Narasinghi Vamanatite, Ramo Ramasya. This is also known to everybody. But there is a Chaubi Savadar temple. This is not a Chaubi Savadar, that is 24 incarnation of Vishnu. What is this incarnation of temple? It's not that kind of incarnation also. This is, because he would be having, Vishnu would be having Gada, Shankha, Chakra, Padma as his iconographic marks. But sometimes, that would be changing his hands. So that is known as Achyutam Keshavam Rama Narayanam Vishnu Damodaram. So this is that Chaubi Savadar temple. So this Chaubi Savadar temple also, it was just by the side of this one, the great Jyotirlinga. And that was at a lower position. So when the Narmada Sarovar project was started by the government had to rehabilitate the local people, number one, and also they had to rehabilitate this monument. Mm. So what I did is, when I joined there, that was in Goa, they had dismantled the temple because, it is, the whole process is that suppose you take up a monument for transplantation, then you have to, the first thing is that you have to document it. Documentation means in two ways. Number one, photographic documentation. Number two, drawing documentation. Each stone you have to document it. That is, whether which is the part of this, this stone, is it the part of a Adhisthana or is it part of a Janga? Whether it belongs to eastern part or western part, or it is north, south. So for all these things, we have got certain abbreviation. Yes. If it is north, we'll call it N1, 2, 3. So each temple would be, each stone will be numbered. And then you have to start dismantling those temples. 1, 2, 3, you have to dismantle it. Keep at one place. Then you select another place where it could be very safe and sound. Then transport these things to that place and then start reconstructing it. So this is the normal procedure.
Just want to add one thing. So Bhagavad Puran describes 24 incarnations.
Yes.
So just add. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for this addition. Bhagavad Purana fully describes it, that 24 Avtara. So now I am talking about this Shiva temple. Yeah. So unfortunately for many of these people, this is a very challenging job. Generally, archaeologists, they avoid that kind of work because, you have to, you have to document everything. Then if something happens to one stone, then the entire responsibility will be upon this man who is the superintending archaeologist. Yes. So what people do is, they avoid this problem and they don't take up this kind of work. But somehow one of my predecessors, he took up this thing. But then he was transferred, so he could not complete that work. So normally, what is the condition? The man who has dismantled the temple, because he knows everything, so it will be easy for him to reconstruct it.
That's right.
Yes, unfortunately, this man was transferred, and the next man was not so active. Sometimes, you have in government service, you get many type of people. He is not active, not dynamic. Then, he would simply, while away his time, because, he will be there for 2 3 years, he will find out some way to postpone things. So this way, it was this was made of laterite stone, and laterite is a very fragile stone. So during the transportation also, some of them broke. And then when it was transported to the other place where they had to take up the work, many stones were missing. So that man, he did not take it up.
Mm.
It was just lying there for 9 years. For 9 years. So it was at that time I joined Goa Circle. Then the problem was placed before me. I said that whatever is there, it is our duty, because we have dismantled it, and now we have to reconstruct it. And there were some of the old laborers also, with great astha, with great devotion, they had dismantled it. And many of them came and told me, see, if this is me who had dismantled this temple, we were all there in that group, and if we die without reconstructing it, we will be answerable to God. That was their version. I don't know how we are going to answer in front of God. That is what they, with these things, with tears trickling down in their eyes, they came and told me. So that became, that gave me an extra energy. Now, at any cost, this has to be reconstructed. But in Goa, there is a problem. In Goa, it is where, this one, liquor is very easy. And they start early morning not by tea, by this kind of, liquors. So I made a condition that, whosoever is involved in this work, that at least for the duration of 1 year, they will not touch any kind of liquor, because, you have to have certain vows, because it's not an ordinary work. It's a temple reconstruction work. So you have to keep away from all kinds of things which doesn't go with the vocation of God. So they were very happy, because, when I told them that I am going to reconstruct it, they were very happy, and they were ready to have a new lease of life also. It's kind of completely new makeover. And then I started the work. Of course, there were so many problems. Financial problem was there, because, at that time, getting sanctions from the government for various things, it was very difficult. But somehow we managed it, and I have a very good engineering team also. And we managed the whole thing, and then the temple construction started. So I'm going to show you some of slides of that one. And then we will go to the other temple, that is Chobi Saudar temple. So the first transplantation of this, another most important transplantation all over the world, that had taken place in Egypt. That was at Abu Simbel. Abu Simbel, we all know, it goes back to 1300 BC. That was roughly our Mahabharat period. Because Mahabharat period, as per archaeology, this was in 13th century. And the king in Egypt, that was Rameses II. And we had our, all the Pandava brothers also here in India. So that was roughly almost the same kind of, and that was the period of Moses also. The encounter of Moses, and that is the great biblical Moses, and Rameses, most probably it was, his tag was with Rameses II. And some of our Indian historians will say this Rameses is nothing but our own drama. That is the great drama of Indian epic. So these are some other arguments. So I'll go to this one. And this was funded by near about 50 countries, because Egypt was financially not well off. So they said that if Aswan Dam comes up, the entire thing would be submerged. So we had to transplant this thing to a distance of only 200, just background at the back side. And even for that also are not having money, and not only money. I mean, you have funds, you have to have the technical know-how also. They were not having, but then 50 countries joined together and they funded it. The whole European Union and America was the first biggest fundraiser, and America supported it, and then they shifted it. So each stone was cut into 20 ton and 30 tons. And because it was the whole rock itself, so that was transported. So that was the first thing. And later on, this 50 nation, they formed that World Heritage Monument Group. And now it has got near about 197 countries. So which says that if a monument is there in one particular country, it is, and especially a monument with a lot of heritage, that is not only their heritage, it is the heritage of the entire world. So they have given a category known as New World Heritage Monuments. So this way they had to cut them into 20 ton and 30 ton. Here, if you look at this one, the face portion has been now cut, and it is now going into the new location. And similarly here also, the half portion has been cut, and it has already gone to that side. So this way, 20 ton, 30 ton, they cut it, and then with the huge joints, and the huge cranes were there. With the help of that, the entire thing was transplanted. And this was the kind of scaffolding they had erected. The huge scaffolding of this kind. And that shifting engines also. Here now, entire thing has been shifted to a new place. New place means it was only 200 meter on the back side, because it was, the thing is, it was not to a bigger distance, not to a greater distance, but it was only 200, because they wanted to go into a higher portion so that the water will not reach that area. So that was
so above these four statues,
yeah.
there are small things. Are they monkeys or what are those?
No, these are, I mean, here you have, these are his sons. This is Ramesh's second, and this is his wife. These are the gods, and they have got their son, children, and other wives are also shown here. And they believed in a kind of sun, like our Indians, they believed in kind of sun worship. And just look at this one, this insignia, the serpent insignia. It looks like that of our Shiva.
Yes.
So it is said, Vahanam Vrishabho Yasya Vasuki Kandabhushanam. So it is the Vasuki of this Egyptian god.
Yes. No, on top of this, like where they're sitting, there are small statues there.
This
what are
one?
those? No, above, yes.
These are, there are this one, I mean, small statues of different gods and goddesses, minor gods. They are not big gods, but these are the minor gods. And this one is 66 feet. Each one is 6 feet. And the whole thing is 132 feet. So they had to cut down all those things. And whatever marking fissures were there in the rock, even that has also been the same way they had brought it down and then kept it like that. Here you can see there are two collapsed portions. That was from this one. That also they have kept it just like that one as they got it. If they want, they could have reconstructed it. All the parts were there, like our MahadevaTemple temple, which I had done.
Yes.
But at that time, it was, I mean, the World Heritage the manual was saying that, we should not reconstruct anything. We should just keep it as we got it. But now again, now that things have not completely changed. So these are the interior portion. Just look at it. The painting. And these are, I mean, from 3000 as 300 years back. And just look at it. So initially there were two opinions by the government, by the experts. One expert said, let us have a watery grave for this one. Let us allow them to submerge underwater, and then we'll have an underground, this one, a kind of water, like our oceanarium. So this would be, we should allow them to submerge in fresh water, and then construct a kind of oceanarium so that this would be preserved inside. Like an oceanarium, one can just go around it and watch, see, and all those things. But later on, people said, no, the best thing would be, it's not that one, because in that case also there would be decay, and that would be much more harmful for the monument. So let us relocate them from this place to another place. So the temple which I talked about you, that is this one, that is Kurdi MahadevaTemple. And when Archaeological Survey of India saw this one, it was like this one. These are the vegetational growth, because nobody cared for it, because it was in the middle of a forest. So nobody cared for it. So before doing anything, you have to clean the entire thing and then document it photographically, and also with the help of the drawings. So first of all, you have to make the drawing. So we started making the drawing and numbering each stone. You have, the numbering is there, each stone. If it is a pillar, pilaster, that too would be numbered, and then slowly from top, the dismantling work would be taken up. And at the time of reconstruction, it would be just the reverse of what we have done. It would be, we'll start from the foundation. So everything, because it was a completely fallen temple, so whatever is there, you have to make a drawing of that. Here also, each portion that was completely documented. If you have a missing thing, we'll give a missing. Here it is, missing is written. And then each one is numbered also here. This is the front portion of the temple. So the front portion, the pillar would be like this. And this is an 8th, 9th century temple. Small temple, because it's not a bigger temple also, a very small temple. And this is the upper portion. This portion had already fallen, so you had to write collapsed portion. And here also you had to write, because this portion had fallen down, so you had to write collapsed portion. And the whole entire area had collapsed. But still, whatever is there, you have to mark it. And then the entire thing was shifted from here, and it was shifted from here. Once more, the documentation work differently, because it's not only one side, you have to document every side. North, east, west, everything you have to document it. And then the reconstruction started. So here also you can see each one is, the thing is there. See, now the lower portion, that is this foundation portion, that has been completed, and now we have to go to the top of it. So this portion had collapsed, but here you have got certain stones. Now it has further gone up. So these are different part of the temple, Kura, Kumbha, Kalasha, different parts are there. So this is that Adhisthana platform of different stages of transplantation. First of all, it was like this one. Then it was the second stage. And now this is the third stage of the transplantation. Gradually it is now coming up. Now it has come up to this. And you may ask why there are no numbers here. Here you have numbers, but here you have numbers. Yeah, no, you don't have the number. And this is the collapse portion, because in the drawing also I had shown you that collapse portion. So this was the collapse portion. Now during the reconstruction, what we are going to do is, we are going to fill up this area by providing new stones. That is why this has got no numbering at all. Otherwise, this is not going to, the life of this would be, it would be reduced. So in order to remove that problem, we have some new stones have been introduced. And here you have the pillar also. And now the door jamb has also been fixed. And all of them are numbered. All here numbering is that white thing is, that is numbering. Now it has come up to the top portion. Normally there will be one here. If you go to North India, here there will be on the at the entrance side, wherever the Garbhagriha is there, just outside the Garbhagriha, there will be one lady standing on a crocodile, which means that is Ganga, if it is crocodile, because always crocodile is associated with Ganga. And on the other side, there will be a lady standing with a water pot on tortoise. That means Yamuna. And then underground Saraswati. So before going to the Lord, you are having a ceremonious wash in Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. Yeah. Cleanse yourself of all kinds of sins. And then with a pure heart, you go to your own Lord. So all this, resetting the laterite blocks have been used. The problem with the laterite stone is, it is very fragile stone, because during the transportation, a number of them got brittle and then broke up also. That was another problem for us.
So laterite stone is used by these people for constructing the temple because it is easily available. Is that right?
Yes, it was easily available there. Because in Goa, you don't get even the great churches of Goa, like our Bom Jesus. Bom Jesus Church is a church where the body of Saint Xavier is kept. Because every year there is a program and people go in great numbers. Every year there will be 2-3 lakhs of people go there. So we have got near about 10 temples, churches are there. Most important one is Bom Jesus Church. Then there is Say Cathedral, then St. Francis Assisi. All these churches are there. They are all made of this kind of laterite stones, not granite. Granite you will have to export from some other area. You will have to go to Karnataka area. There is only one temple, that is Tambdi Sulla, that is made of granite. So just see, now we have almost reconstructed the entire temple. Now what we have to do is, you have to provide this one ceiling stones also on the top of it. You can see the ceiling stones. And very good workers, because I had made it, they will not drink, they will not indulge in any kind of non-religious activities. They will not eat anything of that kind which is prohibited during that period. It's not forever, during that period. So it was a kind of woe for them, a kind of religious belief for them. And they did a very good work. And what I did is, once the work was completed, I made them, all of them, permanent also. Now all of them are government employees of Archaeological Survey.
Wow,
which
very
they
nice.
never expected, which they never expected, which they never expected. I had near about 45 laborers working like this one. So
Mm.
because they were all very sincere, and they got an opportunity because even when I started the work, even I was not very sure that I would be able to make them permanent. They were all simple daily wage laborers, getting only some 20, 25 rupees at that time. But now they are all government servant of Archaeological Survey of India, and when they retire, they will be getting a pension also.
Wow.
All of
Nice to
them.
hear.
Yes, 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 yes. I guess what I do is wherever I go, if I find that there are good workers, sometimes I go out of my own limit and help them. Like as you had seen that kind of schools for the workers, this one children. These are very simple things. If you are a government servant in a good position, all these things you can do. The only thing is you have to go a little bit out of the way sometimes.
Out of the way.
A little bit out of the way. There will be opposition because even when I started also that school there in Delhi, there were a lot of opposition from the higher ups. But I said that I am spending money out of my own pocket. It's not government money, and I am just helping them.
Mm.
Then when you say it very strongly, then they don't have the guts to oppose you.
Yes.
That so this also there was when I made them permanent. There were a lot of hue and cry from other places, but I said that they have done a great work, and they should be rewarded for that one. And I did it.
Mm.
Now, the last ceiling stones, as we got it is kept there. And now it is just like this one. It is just in front of a huge this water body. It is a very huge water body. You can go there, you can see the temple, and also at the same time you can enjoy the whole scenic area because it's a huge water body. Number of boats are there, number of people are coming for the picnics, and at the same time after the picnic they come to this temple also. As our rule, it is not under worship because at that time, because in our rule is like this, that at the time of taking over a monument, if it was not under worship, we would not be allowing any more worship there. Whether it is a temple, whether it is a mosque, whether it is a church, our rule is like that one. And if any kind of worship was there, only that limited worship would be permitted. So we call it dead monuments. That way, it is a non-living dead monument. So a number of people, because if you go to Mahabalipuram there, you can see number of people come there, but they don't worship. But when we took over that Brihadishwara temple, that was under worship when we took over it. So that kind of religious worship would be permitted, but at the same time, they cannot introduce a new method of worshiping. So this is the government of India rule. So this was the first thing because it almost took 9 years, but we completed the work.
Wow. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
So you have another picture with the lake overlooking the lake?
I don't have that one, but next time, whenever I get time, I will prepare because it was hurriedly prepared now for you. Otherwise, I had no program of showing this one. That is a fabulous site now. It's a very fabulous site now. I mean, one can just go and enjoy it there. But there also I have made it. I mean, when you come to the temple premises, you cannot have any drink, you cannot have use any kind of intoxicants and others. So people religiously follow it there.
So for the next temple that you have,
Yeah.
our students are asking for coming Friday. Is that
Oh,
okay with you? Same time?
Friday, what is the date? Because I have a number of programs from
Uh,
various. Uh,
so the Friday is 26th.
26, fortunately, yeah.
26, 6:30 p.m. your time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure, sure.
So if you unshare your screen, can you unshare?
Pardon?
Do you have something else to show? Next slide, or you can unshare.
Next time is about that next temple.
Next temple.
This is almost completed. Uh, is a next topic, that is Omkareshwar temples.
Chauvis, yes. We will do this next Friday,
Yeah,
and then so that we can cover it in detail.
yeah.
If you unshare your screen, then please can you
Okay.
unshare your screen? Yes. No. So, K K Mohammed, this was fabulous. Actually, we really enjoyed the last presentation, and also I think many of our students want to get involved in such projects of ASI, uh, and where we can actually help in preserving history, because history is a big identity builder.
Yes.
In modern sciences, people do not discuss history, and which is not proper. Even in USA, many of the monuments of the Native Americans are not preserved, which is a shame on the entire country in a way, because the Native Americans were the original inhabitants of this land, and their culture is not being promoted or preserved in a big way. So thank you so much for this your time today, and we will come back on Friday for the next temple that you have
Yeah.
at 6:30 p.m. So
Sure.
our viewers had one question, and I'll ask you on behalf. That
Yeah.
initially you said 11 years it took you, and but
No,
later
nine.
you said nine. Okay, 9 years. So it was 9 years. And the second question I have come across is that since the ASI has a rule of not, as a government of India has a rule that whatever condition you get it and you do it, you preserve it. So is there a policy to also restrict any new like advancement or anything enhancement on their sites as well? Like, for example, they want to build so they saw the temple and maybe seeing other temples, they can complete the temple, which is like the one you've done in conservation.
Yes, yes, yes.
So can this temple which you transplanted, can you do that on that or no?
Yes, of course. But at the same time, here everything is completely this one. We had earlier recorded everything, documented everything. So what I had done is, in certain places, where, for example, I had shown you that dismantled area was there. So there we have filled it up.
Mhm.
Uh, so it has no, I mean, it was not a very architecturally a very good temple. It was not. But at the same time, it had a lot of sanctity attached with it, because a number of rishis and maharshis, they used to do puja there. So that was
Excellent.
the. So I went for the religious sanctity of the area. There were a number of small mutts were there, where in which they used to do puja, archana, and tinging, meditations and other things. So because of that, it was a highly sanctified area. A lot of respect was there for the thing.
Okay.
That is why I prohibited those people also, that you should not drink, you should not do anything like that.
So when there was this dam being built and this being submerged in water, did government of India did not consider that this land they can preserve before they planned a dam in such a way doesn't preserve it? They didn't think on those lines.
Dam becomes a big problem sometimes. I mean, the only way of rescuing it is salvaging it and transplanting it, because it is going to submerge the entire, I mean, kilometers and kilometers of area.
Hmm.
We just cannot protect any temples like this one. And that is, under the circumstances, this is the only available
Only
method.
available. Right. So KK Mohammed, it's really enjoyed this presentation, and we'll cover on Friday the Chobis temple, the Chobis avatar. It's a
Yeah.
very unique temple, and I think, like you described, the 24 incarnations are mentioned in Bhagavad Puran. The
Yes.
10 incarnation story is in the poem of Jaidev Goswami. So
Yes.
Jaidev Goswami put the poem of 10, but actually it is 24 avatara in this Kali Yuga of material world.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Even
that's the actual.
Vayu Purana also, that the Savdara is there. Because earlier there were 40 avataras also, but it was Vayu Purana that had codified everything
Yes.
into the avatara.
So yeah, we will cover that in detail in that session.
Yeah,
But viewers, I think many people have loved this presentation of yours. In fact, I'm flooded with comments right now.
yeah.
And but due to the time and also the link time that we get from the colleges,
Yes, yes.
that's why we have a little bit issue here. So viewers, you'll see this recorded, and in the next session on Friday, we're going to have a larger, we'll allow a larger, longer time, so all of you can watch it, and also you can ask questions live as well to Shri K K Mohammed. And initially, when I mentioned him as Padmashree, and just to let you know that that's an award, civilian award in India for accomplishment in a particular professional field. So he got an award from the government of India. It's a recognition, just like we have recognition in the US. So he got an award from the government of India for his preservation work, and that's called Padma Shri. So thank you so much, Shri K K Mohammed ji, and it's a real privilege to have you on the show again. And we are going to have the same discussion on Friday. Thank you for the next avatar. Namaskar.